Okay, so further integration revision for the HSC. When looking back at past papers for the HSC prior to the new syllabus, of course, here are some general observations that a crazy mathematician who has too much time on her hands could assess. That basic differentiation and integration of inverse trig functions, at least in the 2017 back to the 2012 papers, usually were included in question 11. So for instance, this pace that I included below here, this is, while it says inverse functions, of all of these numbers that are listed for 2017 back to 2012 papers, almost all of them involve inverse trig functions rather than just simply inverse functions. And you can see that most of them were included in question 11. And hence they're either derivatives or integration. And I believe, if memory serves me correctly, this one that is 13D is actually like similar to question 1 that I included on the revision paper that we did as focused revision on further integration. And I believe the same thing here in 2012, that 13A, also similar to question 1, some variation thereof has been included in past papers. The reason I only go back to 2012 is prior to 2012, there were no multiple choice, and so the paper looks slightly different. So trig integrals, where people get tripped up with trig integrals is that they often forget that they can manipulate the integrand using trig identities, and a lot of the 3-unit trig integrals require that in order to integrate. This bullet point here, where integration by inspection or substitution, what I'm talking about there is integration where you could actually reverse the chain rule. While you could use U substitution on reversing the chain rule, it is simply not required. So henceforth, it's more likely going to be something that you would see on a 2-unit paper rather than a 3-unit paper. Harder integration where the U substitution is given, it's given because it's required, in that you cannot integrate without that U substitution, unlike the previous U substitution where you might use it, but you could also reverse the chain rule, integrate by inspection. And most of those where U substitution is given, they usually appeared at least in 2017 back to 2012. They usually appeared in question 11. So prior to the new syllabus, as you can see, volumes of revolution was actually a 2-unit topic. So therefore, this summary here of problems that involve volumes of revolution for 2017 back to 2012, you can see that they were all over the advanced paper, questions 12 onwards. So you may want to have a look at some of those in order to see the types of problems that you might encounter with volumes of revolution.